Turn your 50 bob into a million shilling investment. Changamka and Shindagari Chap Chap with Hometel. There's millions in shillings worth of prizes to be won. Send your 50 bob to paybill number 4040153 and get a chance to win 20,000 shillings daily. And each week, one person gets a chance to walk away with a Mazda Demio and another a Beth Mobility motorbike. Remember, the more times you try, you could be the winner of a fantastic Toyota Prado. Do not be left out. Send 50 shillings to paybill number 4040153, account name Lookup TV, and get yourself a Hometel lucky number. Changamka and Shindagari Chap Chap with Hometel promotion. For more information, visit www.shindagari.co.ke. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello and welcome to Diaspora Fusion. This is a show where we look at news stories about Kenyans living in other countries. And on today's show, we'll be looking at events of 2020 and the anticipation of the new year, which is in just about 2 days, 2021. And with me on set is Pastor Patrick Mushai. You're a pastor, as well as an IT specialist, residing in Washington, in the United States of America.
Yes.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Kwenye show yetu ya leo. So today we want to talk about the events that have happened in 2020, and there are a couple of things that have happened.
Right.
And for you as a Kenyan who lives in the States, so we'd want to know your perspective. Yes. Looking at it. So we can start from COVID-19. COVID-19 has been the talk of the year because it is a pandemic. It has affected the whole world. Yes. And for black people as well as Kenyans residing in America, how was it for you?
Well, I think 2020 was a shocking year to everybody. We never expected the issues that were affecting, especially the COVID-19. We started 2019, we were all happy and we had visions, we had plans, and so many things that we knew we are going to achieve them. But along the line, I remember when we started hearing about COVID in China, we thought that this is a China thing, and nobody thought that it's going to affect us. Not at all. I remember watching TV and I could see the events that were happening in China. And in fact, the first person to be affected by COVID was in Washington, in our state.
Okay.
That's where it started, in an adult family home. And from then, at first we thought it's a joke. Just like the way I can see, even here, it was the same thing. We thought it's a joke. It's not going to affect us. But right now, it's a different story. It has affected our work. I remember when we started working, I remember on January, I started working for Microsoft. And I used to commute going to Seattle. Then we had to work from the house. The schools were closed. We had to work for in the house and taking care of children, and it was difficult. And you had to be pushed to work, and at the same time you're taking care of children, and yeah, it was.
Let's talk about the lockdown.
Okay.
Lockdown, and of course the curfew. You know, it was more intense there than it was here.
Yeah.
So what was a normal day like?
Well, a normal day, I could say that I could spend all my day in a office that I had to make in my house, taking care of the children, and my wife could go to work. I could be left alone. We were not used to this, and it was so boring for me to be on the computer the whole day. I cannot see my workmate. We were communicating through Teams, Microsoft Teams. It was difficult at first, Then after some times we get used, although we could feel that there's something I'm missing. I think working with people in the office is different. It's not the same as working in the house, and it was difficult for me.
So there was that social interaction that was cut short.
Yeah, it was cut short.
Okay.
And I could see there was a good reason for that. Although at first we thought, this should not happen. But after watching what is happening, people dying, we saw this is a reality. Yeah.
And for black people in America,
Yeah.
there were stories that many people are dying because of lack of access to ventilators for black people. So I don't know for Kenyans out there.
Well, I think for the black American who lived in America, not us, inequality is not something that started with COVID. It was there for a long time, the healthcare, the education. So when COVID came, it exposed something that was kind of
already
hidden.
there.
Yeah, it was already there. So about, I don't think there's nothing to do with COVID. Just COVID exposed something that was there, and because it was a weak point, so it was hard. It was hit hard. That's the place where the effect was seen much. Yeah, so it's not about COVID. It's about the inequality that was there for many years. So, yeah.
And what about the health insurance, say for you and your family?
Yeah.
How do you work it out?
Well, in terms of insurance, if you are working, you're covered by the company you're working for. So for me, I was not affected. But for those people who are not working before, they were hit hard. Yeah.
And then, so that was COVID-19. And did you feel in any way affected in terms of now maybe the discrimination, that the protests about lack of ventilators or not equal treatment? Did that affect you or any other Kenyans that you know?
No, I don't think it never affected me, because to reach to a point where you are lacking a ventilator, it means that you're sick. I mean, and I was not sick. So I don't think I could say that I was affected. But also, I don't think there's a mentality. To me, I would think there's a mentality that black people were neglected, but it was not in big scale.
Okay.
I don't think it was in big scale, because COVID was not discriminating. It is affecting everybody. And when you go to the hospital, the treatment, it was kind of equal. I don't think it was there was so much of discrimination as the news could report.
Okay, that you did not experience?
No.
Okay. Then 2020 has also seen the protests of Black Lives Matter.
Right.
So there are a couple of people who suffered in the hands of police.
Yes.
So there was police brutality.
Sure.
There was George Floyd.
Yes.
This was actually the most popular of them all. George Floyd, he could not breathe. He was, put down by police, and then he suffocated and died.
Right.
As well as Breonna Taylor. So there were those protests about Black Lives Matter.
Correct.
As a Kenyan living in the United States, did you feel like you're part of the movement?
Yeah, I felt it, because I think what happened, and I would say this, how I was affected personally. I think the government and maybe the leader of the government, he didn't take the right precautions. He was kind of he was not serious with the whole issue.
So by leader of the government, you mean the former president, or the outgoing president, Donald Trump?
Yeah, let me say that.
Okay.
Yeah, the former president, he never related with the ground. He never related with the whole issue of discrimination for the black. I can say there is discrimination, but it's not like something that is outlined. It is kind of hidden. It's not something that you're going to go there and you're going to be discriminated. No, it's not like that. It's kind of hidden somehow. You not see it directly. But I would say that the way the whole thing, the Black Lives Matters, or the issue of George and the rest, the way it was handled by the government, I would say in a scale of 0 to 9 or to 10, I would give the government, they did a poor job. And by bringing in the new government, we think that they are going to do a good job. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And anytime we think of Kenyans who are living abroad,
Yes.
then of course the question of discrimination comes in.
Yes.
Have you felt discriminated, or anyone that you know has suffered from discrimination because of who they are, the color of their skin?
Yeah, I think the main reason why we are kind of discriminated, if I have to say that, is because of the level at which we place ourselves. For example, let me be real here. For example, if you come to America and you choose to be working low-class jobs, then that's where you're going to be forever. That's where you're going to be. And people will view as if that is a discrimination. But to me, when I went to America, I decided that I'm going to fight on, because of course in America there are opportunities. There are so many opportunities, but you have to pay the price. And when you pay the price and you work hard, you're going to move yourself from a certain level, you're going to another level, whereby you not feel discriminated. If you are good in something, you'll not be discriminated.
Okay.
I promise you that. Nobody is going to discriminate you. You are going to work hard and you are going to compete with Americans. I compete with them because I chose not to feel as if I'm a second-class citizen. I am not. I chose to work hard, and when you work hard, nobody's going to discriminate you. I promise you that.
And you are a professional,
Yes.
because you're in IT, an IT specialist.
Yeah.
So is it different for you and for some other person who just went to, you know, greener pastures? You're seeking greener pastures, so you will take whatever the job is available. So is the treatment bad for them?
Well, I think personally, let me say that I'm in data science. That's where I do my job.
Yeah.
And once you work with the people and they see you are smart, they will not devalue you. They will not do that. But if you don't show yourself like you know what you are doing, then what do you expect? Yeah, that's right.
And you have studied
Yes.
in America.
Yes.
So are there the learning opportunities as well as job opportunities for Kenyans and people from other countries, let's say African countries, as well?
Yeah, if you work hard and you study, you get a job. It's almost like a guarantee. I can tell you that it's almost a guarantee if you go and graduate. But of course, it's going to depend what you're learning. If you go and do like nursing, you become a doctor, it's a guarantee you get a job. If you go in the IT field, it's a guarantee you get a job. And so for me, opportunities are there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that the reason you left Kenya to go to America?
No. For sure, that's not the reason. Because on the other side, I can say this, and I always say this, even in the church, I always say that the profession that I do is secondary. That is not what I'm called to do. I'm called to preach the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ. And that is what I love most. Even if I can go somewhere, preach, I'm not paid, I'll sleep that night with a lot of joy. That's what I'm called to do. The reason why I went back to school is because I realized that the dynamics in America are not the same as in Kenya. I cannot go to preach in the church and I'll earn money to live on. I can't do that. That's why I decided to go. In fact, I know when I was back here in Kenya, I did some computer science when we had Universal College and in Tomboya Street.
Yeah.
I went there sometimes back many years ago. So when I went there and I realized I need something to earn some money, I went straight to something that I did some times back, but that was secondary. My main thing, the reason I went to America, I feel I went there to preach the gospel. We have a church there, and I love doing that. I love preaching the word of God, and we are effective in that.
Okay, and now let's talk about the church.
Okay.
You are a minister of the word. You are a pastor.
Yeah.
So what is the church? How different is the church here in Kenya from America? Because from what we hear, or from what we read, is that, you know, they're not so serious with church. So,
well, I would say yes and I would say no, because one of the things with the church there, we not only the church, let me not start with the church, is the time. We have, our time is limited for the church. So like if you come to our church and you're used to doing church here, here you have all the time. You can do a church like 3 hours, you can do a church as much as you have all the time. But when you come to our church, we have 2 hours to do the church. And when 2 hours are finished, people start walking out.
Is that before COVID or after COVID, or that's the norm?
That's the norm.
Okay.
It's not because they want to do that, because they are working somewhere, they seek for permission to come to the church, and they are given only 2 hours. So you cannot expect them to stay there and you are not paying them, because time is money. Any hour you are work, you are paid. So if you keep them for more than 2 hours in the church, then it means that you are doing a disservice to them. But also, due to that fact, I've learned something. You give me 40 minutes and I'll maximize that time. I'll be able to maximize that time, because if I don't do that, then I'm not preaching the gospel anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So time management.
Correct.
That
Correct.
is it.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. You have to manage the time well. You have to value people, because those people came to hear the gospel.
Yes.
I don't have time to speak about the newspaper. I don't have time to speak about politics. 40 minutes, strictly the word of God, and I pack their lives.
So when we say American timers, so that is something that you've adapted to.
That's correct. You have to, because if you don't do that, then you should not be in America.
So it's unlike our events where we say, we'll start at 2, but then you know people are going to, the 2 is going to be 3:30-ish, then all through to 4. So that's when everybody's going to be arriving.
Yeah, we don't do that. If we say that you're going to start at 4, everybody is there. And at 6 we finish and we go. Because, and this is because of the circumstances. And I've realized the reason why even here people don't keep time is because there is no discipline that is caused due to the things that you are doing. Because if I know this time I should be there, then it means that I'm going to manage my time well. So that's the reason why people waste a lot of time. I have to say that. Yeah, and one of the things that even the Americans, if you are late, like for example, if you are late for work for 5 minutes, you receive a warning. If you are late for work tomorrow, that's the end of your job.
So there's a value for time.
That's correct. Because, you know, if you value time, if I tell you, let's meet at 2, and you come at 3, to me, the way I value, you don't respect me.
That is so much disrespect.
Correct. That is completely disrespect. I cannot tolerate that. Even me, if you tell me to come here at 2, then you should be there at that time. Of course, I understand here, like for example, when we are coming, we were late a little bit, but this is because of the traffic, you know.
Okay. And the church during the pandemic, you know, in Kenya, churches were closed down as soon as the first case was reported in the country.
Yes.
So what was it like for you as a pastor of the church?
In fact, at first, we closed the church because of the government. The government said that no more churches, gatherings should be 5. And we said, oh, that's too bad for us. Then we started meeting online. We started doing the church online. But it came to a time when the government said, okay, now you can go back to the church. Even right now, you can go back to the church. They said, go back to the church. But I tell you, the second time we cross the church, it's not the government. Right now, we cross the church. The government never told us.
Okay.
We saw the reality. And some of the people in our churches, they were affected by COVID. In fact, we lost one. We lost one of our pastors, and it was so sad. So the second time we closed, the main point is that we closed the church the second time because of the reality of what we saw.
The surge of new cases.
Yeah, and I can say that COVID is a reality. Yeah, it's not a joke. Okay. It's not a joke. We just 2 days, somebody took on happen. He's talking, he's good, and after a week, gone. Yeah, so we were affected directly. Yeah.
A sad reality.
Yeah, it is.
And you know, for many pastors here in Kenya, they were affected in terms of economically. Then if people don't come to church and they don't give offering and they don't tithe, even if you tell them to send via M-Pesa or the bank details you give them, then if they don't come physically, then it will be harder for them to send their offering and tithe. So there are a lot of pastors who were suffering during this time. So you double up as an IT specialist. Is there survival in the church if you have no other source of income?
No, I was not affected personally. And the church, by the way, we were not affected in terms of finances. The reason is because we give, of course we give like, the way we give, we don't give because we are in the church physically. Because sometimes I'll miss the church because I'm working. I don't miss the church, but some members, they miss the church because they're working. Some will come this Sunday, the next one they will not come because some work even on Sundays. And they give right through the M-Pesa. We have cash up there. They give through cash up. So we are not affected at all. In fact, our giving went up. Yeah, we were not affected at all.
Okay, so your members, they know the value of giving, so they kept giving when they were at home.
That's correct. And they are used to give even when they are not there. That's the difference.
Okay. And churches are still closed right now.
Yeah, but of course, let me say this. It's not all the churches. Some churches were affected. I know few pastors who closed their churches. They closed their churches because people could not give, they could not come to the church. So it's like that.
Okay, and during this time of the pandemic, what was the church doing? How did you adjust? Now that people could not go to church physically, how did you adjust? How would you still reach out to the people?
Well, it was hard because we were not used to do churches online. And sometimes, especially in our church, most of our members, they are older generation, and they could not be able to use the Zoom or Team, so we do on the phone. So technologically, we were affected. We were affected because they could not do it. Even training them how to use the phone sometimes, we are not used to it. But after some time, we were used to. But doing churches on phone cannot be compared with meeting together.
That fellowship.
When that fellowship is lost, something is lost. So I can say that we were affected in that sense. And of course, we lost even some members.
And we know that America has a lot of coronavirus cases as well as deaths. So coming to the new year, what do you foresee for the church?
Well, I think I can say that the future is uncertain even now. We do not know even when we are going to open the church, because especially in our state, the cases are so many, deaths are so many, so we cannot risk the lives of people. We cannot do that. We are still waiting to see the way things are going to go. In fact, we do not depend on the government anymore. Not because they're not doing their job, but because we can see the reality. So we are in that level. We don't listen. Even the government say that go back to the churches, we cannot go until we are comfortable.
Until it is safe.
Yes, that it's safe.
Okay,
Yeah.
we are taking a short break here on Diaspora Fusion. And after the break, we'll be bringing in Pastor Joseph Mururi so we can talk about anticipation for the new year.
Are you willing to pay the price for success?
Movement is in progress, but progress requires movement. We have believers today who want 24 hours miracle, who wants 24 hours success, who want fast food victory.
And curry is a thickener. Don't know if you know that. It is a thickener and also a flavor for soup or stew.
Are you afraid of aging?
I believe in long life, so I know that as I'm growing older, I'm achieving more.
Okay, well, the easiest answer would be, yeah, of course you can have it all. If you want it all, you're going to have it all. But you're going to pay the price.
A woman is created to be when she is privileged to be in leadership.
Coronavirus COVID-19 is a respiratory virus spreading across the world. The infection is spread from droplets of coughing and sneezing of an infected person, touching or shaking hands or being in contact with contaminated surfaces or objects with the virus. The signs and symptoms are fever, coughing, headache, body ache, difficulty in breathing. The disease can be prevented by regularly washing hands with soap and running water. Avoid close contact with people who have flu-like symptoms. Avoid handshake, hugs, and kissing. Also, protect yourself by covering your mouth or nose using a disposable tissue while coughing or sneezing. If you experience these symptoms and you had traveled or been in contact with a person from a country reporting COVID-19, you should isolate yourself for 14 days and seek immediate medical attention or report to the nearest health center. This message has been brought to you by the Government of Kenya and its partners. For accurate information on COVID-19, dial *719# or call 719. Follow us on Twitter at MOH_Kenya, at spokesperson GOK, at WHO.
Turn your 50 bob into a million shilling investment. Changamka and Shindagari Chap Chap with Hometel. There's millions in shillings worth of prizes to be won. Send your 50 bob to paybill number 40153 and get a chance to win 20,000 shillings daily. And each week, one person gets a chance to walk away with a Mazda Demio and another a Beth Mobility motorbike. Remember, the more times you try, you could be the winner of a fantastic Toyota Prado. Do not be left out. Send 50 shillings to paybill number 40153. Account name Lookup TV and get yourself a Hometel lucky number. Changamka and Shindagari Chap Chap with Hometel promotion. For more information, visit www.shindagari.co.ke. Terms and conditions apply.
Wakani introduce, so nika graduate kutoka sigara, nikakuwa na kunywa pombe, nikakuwa na kula miraa na pia wanawake. Alipopata mtoto akiwa na 3 months, my wife akapata cerebral malaria na akaweza kupasa. Wednesday nikapoteza hiyo kazi ya BBC na bado nina mone. Friday tulikuwa naenda kuzika mke wangu, Saturday kwa in-laws kwa sababu hatungeweza kwenda kumzika kwetu. Na nilikunywa sana na nikaanza tena kutembea usiku. Nilienda nikaanguka mahali. So addiction ni mbaya kwa sababu mimi sikwenda kuzika mke wangu.
Welcome back to Diaspora Fusion. Remember, you can engage with us. The SMS number is 20374. Please do engage with us. The SMS number is 20374. And on today's show, we are talking about the events of 2020 from the diaspora perspective for the Kenyans who are living in other countries, as well as anticipation for the new year. And before the break, I was talking to Pastor Patrick Mushai. And now joining us on my immediate right is Pastor Joseph Mururi. And now we want to talk about the new year that is coming in just 2 days. Today is the 20, yes, the new year that is here with us. And there is a lot that has gone on in the year 2020. Yeah. Yes, first of all, with the pandemic. So when people are sitting down to plan for 2021, I don't know if people are even going to do that. I feel like people maybe might be scared.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Pastor Midori,
yeah,
how should we be writing down our resolutions for the new year?
Yeah, personally, what I believe is that we should plan for success. Because what you plan for is what you get. If you plan for failure, you fail. If you plan for success, you succeed. Like, nobody plans for a bad happening.
Yeah.
It should always come like, like an accident. But we should not prepare for it. Though, we should always plan for any eventuality. Like what happened in 2020. It came like a surprise. As Pastor Patrick was saying, it looked like something that is in China. We never thought it would ever come home. Now everybody is wearing a mask everywhere. It looks what we were seeing on TV now is on the ground. But we should always prepare for success, especially from the philosophy that I'm coming from. I'm coming from a Christian background, whereby God always gives us promises to build our hope, and He's unchanging.
Yeah.
So we have a constant person who changes not, who can be the base of all our plans.
Yeah.
Because even during 2020, there are many people who have not been affected. Apart from, getting, the economy going down, there are people who have not been sick.
Yeah.
There are people who have even done better in business.
True.
This year.
A lot of businesses came up.
A lot of businesses came up this year. There are people who are even seeing like a blessing in disguise. So I believe it's about preparing. We need to prepare for success.
Okay.
Because there is nowhere the Bible has ever told us to expect a calamity, especially when we are people of faith.
Yeah.
We always move by faith. And that faith requires us to always be positive.
Okay.
And therefore we cannot sit here maybe and say anything that would bring fear. We would always talk to our members, talk to our people, to plan for good, for success, to have hope. And the Bible says there is hope for our future. That is what we can bank on.
Okay.
Yes.
And Pastor Mushai, now that the church has been greatly affected.
Yes.
Yeah, you said even your church in Washington has been closed down at the moment. So come 2021, now that we are in the new year,
Right.
then what are the plans for the church?
Well, I think just like the way Pastor Murori mentioned, when it comes to planning, we should always be positive. Furthermore, when it comes to the church does not belong to us. And the promise that we read in the Bible is that the church cannot be overtaken by anything. There is nothing that's going to defeat the church. So if we are a believer and we are planning for our churches, there is nothing to fear. We should not fear. In fact, we should be able to tell our members that they should not even fear the consequences, just to mention this, even of COVID, because one day we shall all die. And we should be beyond the fear of the circumstances that we face. A true believer should not even fear death, because and I'm mentioning this in connection to the church, because the church is the one that brings hope beyond this life. Therefore, there is no way I can be a minister of the gospel without telling people that you should be able to see beyond this life. Why then am I preaching the gospel? Why am I there? So when you are planning, do not only plan for what you are going to eat. Do not plan for what you are going to do. Do not plan for only your work. Do you plan for your eternal life? Do you think, what is your plan beyond this life? That is the bottom line. So our planning for the church is to say that we are beyond any fear. And this is more personal. We are beyond any consequences that may come, or any calamities, the epidemic that may come. We should be delivered from that. Yeah.
Okay. And for resolutions, what is your advice, Pastor Joseph, when it comes to, their plans? People have plans, they have objectives, they have goals of the things that they want to achieve in 2021. So should people write them down? Should they pray about them? What is the way to go about around it?
They say that when you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. Definitely, if you have a goal, and thank God for the seasons. When seasons change, it brings, you are able to gauge yourself to know whether you've achieved, whether you have not achieved. So those times and seasons, they are very necessary. So 2021, of course, we have to have plans. We have to have a calendar of the year. You want to get married you have to have those dates. You have to have at least a plan, so that even when you're going to pray, you are able to present to the Lord, these are my requests, because He says, I will meet the desire of your heart. So definitely, we have to plan. What I would maybe talk to, especially the pastors in the church, because that is where I work in. This year, there were a lot of people who were affected because of unpreparedness. We never thought that churches would ever be closed. So we need to ask ourselves, what about if they are closed next year? What about if there's another lockdown? What are we going to do? So once you ask those questions to yourself, even as you are writing down your plans, you are able now to try to develop answers and seek answers from God. And in the process, now you are able to come to hear God and to write down. And because all these things are a bit personal, we always encourage people, especially in church, to seek God until they get a Rhema word. Because it is better to pursue something that the one who has spoken is so sure, irrespective of whether there is going to be an epidemic or no epidemic. Because when you get the Rhema word, it has an ability to survive and to outlive any limitation. Because I wouldn't want I would rather spend one full month praying and fasting to hear that Rhema word for 2021 and be sure that it will happen, than to write things on the paper and December 31st, 2021, I look back and I have not achieved anything. Because I was trying to, to gaze through life. So what I would tell people, especially the church, to pray. We need to pray seriously, especially the pastors. And as Pastor Patika said, we need to prepare our members not only on material and worldly things. We need to put the heart of people on eternity. Because everything is vanity. We saw in Italy people even, lacking the value for money.
And Italy is known for its food and culture. But that did not matter.
That one did not matter. So did you even see that people are even throwing money on the streets? Because now it is useless. So we need as a church to give people a base that is unchangeable. They need to have a relevant faith that is within a person that is unchangeable. Because that is the only thing that can ensure, whether dead or alive, you are okay, you are safe. So, come death, come life. I think what we need to prepare for 2021 is eternity. Because even the events of 2020, they are showing us that the coming of Christ is nearer.
These are the last days.
These are the last days. And if you are living in the last days, what should you prepare for most? It is the coming of the Lord.
Eternity.
Eternity.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Pastor Mushai, looking at the year that we've had again with the pandemic. So it has affected the economy. What has the church done, or your church specifically, in terms of empowering the people, maybe young people, economically? Because now things are different. Yes. As much as the church is empowering people spiritually, then these same people are affected by what goes on around them. Yes.
Well, I think where I live, we cannot say that the youth or the younger generation were affected. It affected everybody. That's what I'm trying to say here. And one of the things that we learned is that it's good to have like 2 jobs. I know here it's not, it might not be a bit hard, but it's still possible, by the way. We realized that it's good to have 2 jobs, because if you used to work, but most of the people who are working in the healthcare were not affected as such, but if you are working in the hospitality, those people are completely affected. The drivers, they were affected because the transportation is not much. So one of the things that we learned, and we are encouraging our members, is to make sure that you at least have 2 jobs, or you can be able to be trained in 2 areas, that if this one fails, you can go to the other one and you still survive. Yeah, that's how we were able to prepare our people.
Okay. Yeah. And seeing that the churches have had to adjust, a lot of churches have gone online. Like now they'll broadcast on Facebook and on YouTube as well. Do we foresee a time when people are going to stop going to church, because then the live stream is there? So maybe people feel like, I don't have to be there, I can still get the whole experience from my couch. Do we foresee a time like that as members of the clergy?
Yeah, nothing is, we are living in times that you cannot be predict. But the joy we get in fellowship, unless there's a government restriction, there are many of us who would never want to follow the online church. But if you know there are restrictions, there is nothing, we have no other option. And I think churches now need to invest in online equipment and streaming, because once you have, missed members coming to church for 6 months, and you still feeling you have messages and still you want to encourage them. Okay, we don't foresee, actually may God forbid,
that's true,
that it should happen, that we stop going to church. We could lose more, because there are many members who are so dependent, especially in like Kenya, African countries. They are dependent so much on the clergy and the church to read for them the Bible. They don't have an independent devotion.
So if they don't go to church, then they're unlikely to open that Bible.
Yeah, they are unlikely to open that Bible. And there are many who have even been lost on the way. Even because they cannot read the Bible for themselves. They don't even, they are kind of, the benefit of fellowship is what keeps them going.
That's true.
Yeah, so it could happen, it couldn't, may God forbid. If it happens, then we will need to invest a lot in online.
Okay. And as we usher in 2021, then for resolutions, when people are writing their resolutions down, how should people be writing them? There is the spiritual angle. You have your plans, then you pray about them. So do you write them alone? Do you write them with the guidance of a member of the clergy? How should people be going about it? Yes, Pastor.
Yeah, sure. I think when it comes to the resolutions, I think we need first of all to understand that life, we are living a life, and from the time I was born to the time I shall die, and there's no big thing with a new year, because a new year is a day like another day. You understand? It's like a day, like any other day. So what I'm trying to say is that we should have a long-term resolution, such that I cannot be planning every year. Every year comes, I say that I'm going to go this direction, I'm going to go this direction. Does it mean you failed yesterday? What happened yesterday? What happened last year? What I'm trying to say is that we should have a long-term resolution such that you are building on it. You are only adding new things, but it's not like today I was going this direction and then I'm going to go this direction. And yet, when you bring a change into your life, a change does not happen just like that. When you say that from this year I'm going to do this and this, do you give yourself some time to adjust? And that's why sometimes you realize that those resolutions that you make, by the time we reach April, we forgot them. By the time 3 or 4 months, gone. It's not there. But if we have a long-term resolution, that is, in my life, this is what I'm doing, and I'm building on this. Your resolution should be at least building on what you are doing yesterday. It's not making new things every year. I mean, it's not real. I don't do that.
So that is important to see where you did not, you did not complete.
Correct.
So to push it a little further.
A little further, yeah, because and that's why I started by saying that to me on that fast, then we go to fast. It's going to be a day like any other day. There is nothing special. It's just the calendar that's changing, but your life. My body is not going to sense that we are now in 2021, therefore you'll be doing this and this.
Yeah, there's no spark that tells you that runs in your head.
That's what I'm saying. There's nothing like that. That's why, as far as the resolutions are concerned, to me, I'm not a fan of resolutions. I would rather build what I was working on, because I'm the same yesterday. The way I was, is the same me. The only thing I can do is to make sure that the plans that I had, I build on them. I keep on building on them. And that's why I said we need to have a long time resolution that you made many years ago, and you are building on that. Yes. Furthermore, life is a journey from the time that I was born to the time that I shall die. So you should be looking what is going to be my legacy. And for those who are Christians, what is my vision? You understand? What's my vision at the end of the world, or my life? What is my vision? And for those who are Christian, if I have to say this, we have a vision. And it's our vision is this, that one day we shall see the one who called us. That is our vision. And if we can only work on that, because everything else, I want to tell you, they are vanity. What is money? You're going to get a lot of money, you're going to get a lot of fame, and everything is going to die with you. So as far as resolutions are concerned, we should have something that you are building on, but not doing something new every time. In fact, resolutions, I don't know where this doctrine came from. If I have to say that, it can be a source of discouragement. Do you know why I say this? Because we say that from today I'm going to do this, and we preach to our people, you need to have resolutions, but if you don't do them, then you're going to be discouraged. You're going to point a finger to me. You tell me that you uliniambia nifanye hivi na hivi, but it's not happening.
And you had like 30 resolutions.
Yeah, and you had like 30 of them. You brought to me, I prayed for them, and they are not happening. So at the end of the day, you're going to tell me that I'm a liar. I'll tell you, build your life, have a goal for your life, and build on it when New Year comes, because a New Year is like a day, it's like a Thursday in September or November, just a day like any other. Make sure that you can be able to build on what you started on, but not doing new things every time. I'm not a believer of doing new, or a believer of saying that because it's a new year, well, it's good. Don't misunderstand me here. You can have a vision. I'm not saying that you should not have a vision or you should not have something that you're working on. What I'm saying is that you should build on something that you started, but not doing new things all the time.
Because that's a sure way of growth.
Yeah, show of growth, as you said. And of course, you can say maybe if somebody comes and tell you that by the end of this year, I believe I'm going to be married. I'll say, yeah, you'll be married. We are going to pray with you. But remember, this is by faith. I'm not going to stand with you that's a guarantee, because you utakuja, then you tell me I lied to you. Know that life is a journey. And you, at one time, if you desire maybe to get married, of course you'll be married. But there is no way I'm going to tie myself and tell you 2021 you'll be married unless I hear from God. I will not do that mistake. And I will not encourage somebody to do that.
Yeah. And the trends that are around when a new year begins, among them is reading the Bible. So there's usually a calendar that shows people how you can read the Bible, the whole Bible from January 1st, all through. And a lot of people fail at it. So maybe if you can just advise us, what is the best way to go about, say, like reading the Bible when you resort to starting? Yes. Yeah.
Personally, I don't know whether some of these things, like, they go with the age. The younger people, they want to have a world view, and the more older we get, we want just to have a God's view, and we tend to be more devoted to the things of God. Personally, what I've seen working for me is whereby you don't wake up and open the Bible any page, because you might get confused. You might get confused. You just wake up, you take your Bible, and you say, Holy Spirit, lead me to where you want me to read.
Open point.
Yeah, that particular point where your eyes are going to follow. That one is it can make you to be shallow, because you're not able to add on to what you've been learning. The best way that I've seen working is whereby you purpose that every day I'll be reading one chapter. Whether they are only names, genealogies, this one got this one, got this one, you discipline yourself. But every day I will be reading a chapter in the Bible, because the Bible is a straight line. And once you read chapter by chapter, at least you are able to know what God is saying. Yeah, because when you're selective, you might only look for scriptures that are encouraging you. That are they want to say, they say what you want to hear. But it's okay. Just to answer your question, I would advise that somebody reads a chapter by chapter without skipping.
Okay, and as we conclude, what is the message that you are going to give out to the people as we usher in the new year?
Well, as we approach the new year, just like I remember when we were celebrating 2020, I remember we were so happy. And I remember preaching on that night, and I say, this is the year we believe, God, that you are going to grow from one level to the other. You know, there's growth. When it comes to new year, or the message that I would say to the people is that they should be positive. Let me say that. Because when we started the new year and we said last year, I'm going back again, and we say that it's the year of growth, we were positive. It's the same thing I would say. Even this year, let us be positive. And the goals that we are going to set, let them be goals. Let us build on the things that we were doing last year, if they are good. But if they were not good, you can start anew. Then when it comes to 2022, make sure you build on those ones. Yeah, it's not about starting, when year comes, you start a new thing, then you're not going to grow. But if there's some things that you failed in 2020, make sure that you work on them. See where you failed. And also remember that like 2020 going to 2021 is just a calendar. The key thing is you.
And in very few words. The message.
What I can say is we don't know whether Corona is going to be there in 2021. Actually, we don't know what the future holds. But one thing, as we always say, we know who holds the future.
Correct.
And one thing I can say with confidence, God will be there in 2021.
Amen.
So let's not be afraid. God is there. And let's be where he is. And you are going to have the manna, and you are going to have the shade, and you are going to have, you know, the warmth.
Okay. Thank you so much, Pastor Miruri and Pastor Mushai, for joining us.
Thank you.
You have been watching Diaspora Fusion here on Look Up TV that comes to you every Friday at 9 p.m. I am Nancy Nalima. Thank you so much for watching.